recently, I really wanted to learn more about data and being a strategic thinker. So part of my goals, within my role is to take trainings on that. I talked to my manager about this. She's big on data. That's something that she's highly skilled at. She sent me some LinkedIn folks who share a lot of content around data. So then I started following them. So I'll read their posts if they recommend like an article or a book or things like that. I'm adding that to my list of professional development follow-ups, right? So if there is a tool, right, if your team uses Excel and maybe you're still kind of like in the beginner phase of learning Excel, right? I know I'm still in the beginner phase and I'm a lot later in my career than you all, right? Luckily, I don't use Excel that often, but you might want to go get that training on ArchU, or you all should have access to LinkedIn Learning, right? So if you don't know how to do it, you can just reach out to me. But taking that training so that you can learn a little bit more. Or if you know of something that could make everyone else's life easier, say, hey, I saw a tool. I'm learning how to use Copilot. I think Copilot can automate this part of the process, right? Can I look into it more and see if it's a viable solution for the team? You can also share what you learn, right? So after researching something, you can summarize it for your team, right? So let's say that did look into Copilot, right? Because some of you have access to Copilot. And say, hey, I recognize that Copilot could do this, this, and that. You share it with your manager. Your manager's like, wow, this is a great idea. Why didn't we think about it before? Right? Maybe you can do a share out at the next team meeting, and on how you use it, right? So I was reading this past weekend, or I was looking into this, or I saw this on the insurance blog. I think this might be important to the project. Observe and adapt. So this is also really key, right? Because each team that you're going to be in is going to be very, very different, right? So since I started my career, I've been around like 5 or 6 teams, and every time you're with a new team, there are new people, new personalities, right? So you want to observe and adapt. So what's your team's work style, and adapt accordingly, right? Is your team one that's very like collaborative? They want to chat in on teams, they're going to chat in person, they're going to do their huddles, right? Then you want to make sure to adapt to that style so that you can be in the loop with what's going on with the team. Or if you're part of the EA group and you know that there's some, like you have to read financial documents to know what's going on in the business, right? Then how do you then learn how to read these documents, right? So what do successful people on this team do consistently? Maybe it's ask questions. Maybe it's provide solutions. Maybe it's making connections to other people to collaborate better. Really start to examine what the team does and adapt to that. And offer help thoughtfully, right? Watch for moments of growth and opportunity. So this might be even outside of your team with your mentor, right? But if you notice that one team, part of a subgroup within your team is working on a separate project, and that's something that you're really interested in either learning more about, or you think that you can add value, then that's a great way for you to raise your hand. It'll be a stretch opportunity for you, but it'll also, right, show that you're collaborative, you're taking initiative, right? You're willing to learn and adapt, right? All of those qualities that we shared earlier. If there's a way for you to stretch yourself and work on something that will support the team, definitely raise your hand. Is there anything else that maybe you've done in a previous school project or a job, even if it was not like a corporate job, that has really made you stand out and be an asset on the team? So I'll stop sharing so we can see each other. Anything that comes to mind? Oh, yes, Carol.
I guess it's kind of basic and you kind of covered it, but just like general communication, like back and forth with everyone, just making sure that everyone's on the same page is really important because then people start to notice like, oh, he's checking in on this or like whatever, just making sure that everything's running smoothly because I mean, someone has to do it and generally people just want to understand that they're thinking the same thing as everyone else. So that's just something that we can do to kind of just take a step forward and make sure that everyone's on the same page and it benefits you and everyone else.
Yeah, and one practice that I like to do in terms of staying on the same page is at the, especially if I'm leading a meeting, is at the end of the meeting, just recap what was discussed, right? You should be taking notes, whether it's on OneNote, on a Word document, if you're keeping it old school, pen and paper, right? But say, hey, so just to recap, Crystal's going to work on this. Maggie's going to research this. Carol is going to reach out to so and so to set up a meeting. Is everyone on the same page? Making sure that everything is recapped is an excellent practice to make sure that everyone is stays on task, right? Because that at the end of the day, what it helps you do is to set you up to meet the end goal as intended. Anyone else? Thank you, Carol. Alfred?
Yeah, I just had something on like staying up to date. Um going for conferences is a really
Mm-hmm.
good cool thing. Especially being a student. I've been doing it since like 2021. They're usually free or very cheap for students. Once you
Mm-hmm.
become a professional, they're like crazy expensive. But yeah, it's a really cool way to stay up to date because usually you get to see a lot of the companies in person, and that kind of demystifies them because it's like, oh, you're thinking of like Aeon or like like a big company, but then you get to see the people, and then it's very different, when you get to have a conversation with an exec versus seeing their picture or something, So I don't know. That's something I think is pretty cool too.
Yeah, no, that's a great suggestion, Alfred. And yes, it does get more expensive when you're a professional, but hopefully your companies can sponsor, right? Like Arch sponsor certain groups. So you may either get a free or a discounted membership, just a kind of like a tidbit for the future. But yes, that is a great one. So first of all, conferences, a lot of times you'll start hearing about industry trends before they become widespread, right? So you know how we talk a lot about like AI, right? Like there were people at conferences or thought leaders that were using AI before it became widespread, right? So that's a way that you can um, really get ahead of the game and suggest like a new idea or a new process or a new efficiency. You can also expand your network, right? You honestly never know who's going to be your next ticket to a next role or connect you with someone who knows someone, right? So, in terms of networking, meeting new people, learning about industry trends, conferences are excellent for that. And I see Elijah put in the chat, be open to hear other people who have different viewpoints than yourself. Elijah, that is like such a great point. A lot of times we see things through our lens and our perspective, and that's just human nature, right? Like I've had the experiences that I have, Lindsay's had experiences that she's had, Elijah's had experiences that he's had, right? So we may see things through one lens or um, just kind of not having the ability to see the bigger picture. So being open to seeing different viewpoints can help you learn and maybe open you up to a new idea or a new tool that maybe the team is not using that you can leverage. So great additional suggestions. Thank you all for sharing. So how can you become a problem solver? So why is being a problem solver going to make you an asset to the team? Does anyone have any ideas? It's not a trick question, I promise. Nobody? You can put it in the chat if you don't want to unmute. Oh, efficiency and getting tasks done, asking lots of questions. Absolutely. So if you're a problem solver, right, then you're someone who is reliable, right? Someone who we know is going to, as Jack said, get the task done. But also someone who is seen, you're seen as an asset, because if other people are not solving problems, then people might want to come to you with new ideas, new projects, stretch opportunities. So you always want to leverage yourself as a problem solver in the workplace. So um, you're asked if you're asked to complete something and it's unclear, what do you do? Right? You want to ask clarifying questions. So that can mean, do you mean this? Making, recapping what the issue at hand is, asking for more details, asking what solutions or what possible solutions have been used in the past or have been tried and didn't work in order to move the task forward. Um, and one thing I will say is always try to figure it out first. And I say this, and I want to caveat it a little bit, right? So let's say you are having trouble figuring out an equation on Excel. I use Excel because as an example, because I don't know how to use it very well. Before I ask someone to help me with Excel, I'm going to go ahead and Google it first. I want to see if Google has a YouTube video, if Microsoft has a kind of like a job aid or a tutorial on how to get it done. Why? Because before I disrupt someone else's workday with my questions, I want to see if I'm able to figure it out on my own. One, it helps to empower me to feel like I am a capable person, but also, again, people can trust that I'm not going to get stuck for every little thing in a task that I don't know how to do. I'm going to go ahead and figure it out. However, that does not mean if you can't figure it out within a timely manner, right? If you Google it, there's no YouTube videos, you try the suggestion, but it's still wrong, that doesn't mean that you don't then go ahead and ask for help. You are still allowed to ask for help. It's just a matter of trying to help yourself before you reach out to someone else. So I want you all to exercise a little discernment there. Check for existing documentation and processes, right? It's possible that there's an O drive or there's a SharePoint that might have instructions on how to complete the thing that you're doing, or might have a job aid. So check if there's something like that exists first before asking for help. Loop in the right people early. Again, there might be times where, I had at one point an issue with a contract. We had signed the contract. We didn't terminate the contract within the time frame that the contract allowed. And I was like, oh, we are in a pickle. At this point, I'm not trying to solve this on my own, right? We are in a legal pickle. We're in a bind. I need to ask for help. So the first thing that I did was summarize what I was dealing with, and I sent that to my manager and my manager's manager. I called vendor management, and I said, hey, this is going on. What are the next steps that I need to take? He said, okay, your legal person is so and so, reach out to them so that they can help you. And I did that, right? in that situation, I'm not trying to figure things out on my own. I have to ask for help. I can't manage it on my own. I'm looping the right people in as early as possible to get to a solution. And luckily, it all worked out in the end. Right? Summarize what you understand so far. And that's what I mentioned earlier when I said ask clarifying questions. What do you understand? Are you understanding the issue at hand accurately? Right? Because sometimes I may speak and say something, and, Henry's understanding is different from what I'm actually saying. So, again, you want to summarize. So, if I'm understanding correctly, XYZ isn't working because of ABC, and we need to find a solution before the end of the week. Is that correct? Right? You want to make sure you summarize what you understand. Make a reasonable assumption and discuss it. So, is there, I'm trying to think of an example. A reasonable assumption would be that, so back to the contract situation, at that point, a reasonable assumption that I made was, do we need to get our lawyers involved in the next meeting that I have with this particular vendor? So I asked our lawyer, said, hey, can you review this contract? This is the situation we in. What are my options? And then I said, do you think that I need to invite you to the next meeting? What is your availability if so? Right? So I made a reasonable assumption about getting her involved, and I discussed it with her. Document your questions and challenges clearly and early. Okay, being an effective problem solver. You're not expected to know everything, especially because you're new. So I want you to take this as a foundation, right? But don't take it as you need to know everything. You need to be the most effective problem solver. You can't ask for help. Like, this is the time to ask questions. But again, you want to begin leveraging yourself as an asset. You're expected to show effort in solving problems, not just identifying them. And that's what I said earlier about being proactive, trying to Google something, looking it up in the O Drive, looking it up in the SharePoint, or maybe even asking someone else who was in that meeting for clarity. Good communication equals clarity, initiative, and providing context. A strong contributor is someone who flags confusion early instead of silently getting stuck. And I always encourage you to think, how can I move this forward even if I don't have all the answers yet? And that might be looping someone in if that's the case. So we're going to do a quick activity, and I think we might be able to end early today, maybe. We'll see. So before we go into the breakout room, I want you all to take 2 minutes to reflect on the following questions, right? Because we're going to talk about how you can leverage yourself as an asset. So what is one strength or unique perspective that you bring to a team, right? So that could mean, you have an effective background, you have an extensive background in information technology, right? So maybe as a cyber underwriter, that gives you a unique perspective and leverage that maybe someone else doesn't have because they don't have that technical knowledge and background, right? What is one thing you learned recently? So is it a tool, a trick, an industry insight, something that you could leverage in the workplace, right? Maybe it's something that you learned in class. Maybe it's a book that you read, right? What is something that you learned that you can leverage? And what is one area where you think you can grow or contribute more? Okay. So what is something that you're like, you know what? I think I would be better off if I leverage my skills a little bit more in this area, or I'm starting to notice that in order to be successful in this role, I need to do this, right? So what is one thing that you can do in that sense? So take a couple minutes to reflect, and then we're going to do a breakout room. Okay. So there are 43 of you. Well, 42. So we're gonna do 10 groups. There might be some groups that are a little big. Um, But we're going to do groups of four. You're going to share out your reflections. Each person will have about 2 minutes. And then as a team, you can share any feedback that you may have. So let's say, again, back to the Excel. An example is, I really want to grow in my Excel skills because it'll be really important for my innovation lab project. And maybe someone took a course or a training or something like that, that they can say, hey, I took this LinkedIn learning course on how to do equations on Excel. I think you could use that to leverage it. So if you have any feedback, any way to help your fellow interns in the breakout room, that would be a great time to share anything that you can leverage. Okay. Does that make sense? And I'll put the questions in the chat so that you all have it. Okay. And I'm going to open the rooms. 10, and you're going to automatically be assigned. So keep an eye on the screen so that you can join your rooms. I don't know why it looks so blurry. Right.
Hi.
Uh,
Hey guys.
oh, wait, what's the question again?
Yeah, I can't
I
see
was, yeah,
anything.
I was just about to say.
I think it was like, what's one strength that you bring to the table, and like one thing that you've learned,
Yeah.
and one more.
One thing that you like want to learn, I think was the last one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll go first. So one strength that I bring to a team, I think, is that I'm a fast learner and like adaptable. Um, and one thing that I've learned recently, I guess this past week, I've been learning a lot about the like cyber insurance industry and about what sorts of things will like increase or decrease the premium, and like what makes it more of a risk and stuff like that. And one thing that I want to learn, um, uh, I guess in general, I want to improve my public speaking. So,
I can go next. I think like what I bring to a team is I'm just like a really good team member, work well with others. I've learned a lot more about Excel lately, just because that's what I'm doing the whole workday. And then I think like I should learn to ask questions more rather than trying to figure things out on my own.
I can go next. So one of my strengths is that I think I have like a great attention to detail and I'm hardworking. One thing that I'm learning to build upon is like I'm a compliance intern and I'm pre-law and I'm really learning like the intersection of business and the government, just something that I really enjoy. And something I can improve on is maybe communication and like being clear to my coworkers.
I can go next. So one strength I have is basically technical background. Have team working skills, data analysis experience, and I'm working under Baba, the lead technical architect. And one thing I've recently learned is the new tool RDoc and the language we're using, Gremlin. I never used that before. And one area I can grow or contribute more, I think, would be communication and probably leadership. I think it's very important for the future.
All right, and then I guess that's just me. So something I bring to a team is like my organization, and skills and like time management skills. I've been recently learning like more advanced Excel. I'm starting to get pretty good at like VLOOKUP. But that's also like where I want to grow more is looking more at like other more advanced formulas.
How's your guys' days going?
Pretty
Pretty
good.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, chilling. Are you guys all at home right now, like working from home?
I'm in the
Yeah, I'm at
office.
home.
At home.
I'm
Yeah,
home.
same. Things Monday and I work from home on Monday and Friday.
I'm like front loading my week. I'm in office today and tomorrow, and then work from home rest of the week.
Hmm.
Mine's like all in the middle. I'm like working from the office Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
Yeah, I
Nice.
only go to the office Tuesday, Thursday. So
I feel like most people are like Tuesday, Thursday.
Yeah.
yeah.
Gentile, I don't know if I'm pronouncing your name right, but is that your real background or is that like a green screen
No,
thing?
no, that's my virtual background.
I was gonna say you're living lavish out there.
Nah, because my actual background's gonna be messy. Yeah.
I should get one of those
Let
because
me
I have
see
a
if I
mess
can.
back there.
Yeah, this is my actual background. Oh,
I
Minecraft.
mean,
The
Minecraft now.
Minecraft one's kind of
What?
crazy.
Oh my God, what? It's fun. Those are the only options that I can see. It's just Minecraft.
Wait, actually same.
Strange.
Oh, if you hit more, uh, like more
More
effects and
video effects.
settings.
Oh yeah. Oh, see.
Oh, I don't like this one.
You can add costume one if you want.
The Minecraft ones are really, really something.
You can add like a thing on top, like this gradient. I haven't actually messed around with this until now.
Alright, I guess we should chill here until meeting ends.
Yep.
Okay.
I've been like requesting every person on LinkedIn during this meeting. So if you guys get a request from me, you should accept me.
I'll do that right now.
Gotcha.
Sorry, what do you say?
Wait, Crystal, I think you're muted.
I'm telling you all that you're not unmuted, that you're not muted, and I'm also muted. Hello, thank you for that. So does anyone want to share some of the things that either they've shared or some of the feedback they've received from the breakout rooms? I saw some comments. There was one group that was going back and forth. They had a lot of great things to share. All talking one now. Josh.
Hi. Yeah, so I guess in my group, there's just a lot of like common things that kind of resonated with everybody. Like I noticed that there was a lot of projects and such related to working on like the technology and with like Power BI and learning about that, which is kind of new and to all of us at this internship, as well as like this common goal of trying to like build the communication and public speaking and stuff like that that was like important for becoming an asset. So I just noticed that all of us were kind of going to that common goal, that would work together to kind of build off each other.
Okay, yeah. And one thing that I can do is I can share on ArchU where you can find some of those trainings, like, like you were talking about Power BI and all of that stuff. There are ways to do that. So I'm just going to do that really quickly. And then Alfred, I'm going to come to you, okay? So let me, okay. So when you log into ArchU, this is usually, it's loading right now, but this will be your usual like landing page when you log in, right? So this is what you see. So here you can go to the different academies. So like IT, underwriting, claims, actuarial. So if there's anything related to your specific group, but know that you can go to the regular ArchU page. So if you see this ArchU icon here that I'm looking at on the top left, so if you click that icon, you go back to the main, you should go back to the main page. Can someone test it out to see, just to make sure? But you should be able to go back to the main ArchU page. And there you can also just start to look at LinkedIn Learning, which is over here. If you see that, learning Arch systems, if you're working on a specific Arch system. And you can also search, right? So if you're looking for Power BI, right? So Power BI fundamentals, Power BI navigation, right? So that could be a training that you add to your ArchU. So when you have some spare time, things like that, you can start exploring what those training opportunities are. And that doesn't just go for ArchU. That's for other things as well. But if you have any issues navigating, please feel free to reach out to me. Thank you for sharing that, Josh. That was really great. And hopefully everyone sees that. Did someone test it out? I'll take Alfred's comment and hopefully someone can test that out. Alfred? Oh, perfect. Thank you, Josh.
Yes. So yeah,
Mhm.
for our group, I think was down to say, we had a lot of similarities. I think Kristen, Aaron, and Sonia, they all agree that they like the brainstorming part of the project problem solving process, where they would like thinking about different perspectives and trying to get a solution out of that.
Mhm.
And I think Kristen and Sonia, I think they both worked had just recently learned Power BI. But I think Aaron and I don't think we had. I don't think I have done it. So that was like an opportunity for me to learn about that. And then for the improvement part, I think it was interesting that all of us had learning about like the new like insurance terminologies and lingo. That was one that all of us had encountered. So that was pretty interesting.
Okay, so that is a common one, and I'll put it in here because there's a lot of terminology, acronyms. It's intense. So I will try to remember to send it in the group chat, like the intern teams channel, but I'll also put it in here and you can bookmark it. So you have to be on VPN because this is on Access. But there's a access page with all the acronyms and abbreviations that you'll hear in insurance. So if you're like, what is VPN? You can click V and it'll if it's there it'll pop up, right? But a lot of times people speak in abbreviations as if you know and we don't know. So that's something that you should always write down. Check the access page if you can, if it's there, and if not, make sure to ask somebody. Also, if everyone's interested in learning a little bit more about public speaking, my colleague can do a training on that, and that could be something that's optional for you all. But if that's something that you're interested in, I can do a little poll. I'll do a poll in the Teams chat, and if that's of interest, I can schedule it, and of course, it'll be optional. So, um, uh, being mindful of the time, I do want to make sure that everyone has an opportunity to do the survey for today. So this is, again, similar to what we did at the end of orientation on Tuesday. You scan the QR code and complete the survey. And the other thing that I will say is if you have not already completed the orientation survey, right? So this survey, the QR code is for the session that we just finished today on Think Like a Pro. But if you have not completed the orientation survey, I'm going to put that in the chat as well. Please complete it. We have about 30 folks who did it, but not everyone has completed. It is both surveys are anonymous, so please leave your honest feedback, okay? So once everyone does it, I'm going to monitor the completions for the Think Like a Pro. Then we can end for today. Oh. All right, I see 16 completions. There's over 40 of you. Right. And if you completed the survey, you have any questions, if there's something that came up in your team that maybe you would like to learn more, if there's a resource at Arch, please feel free to unmute and share. Okay, we're at 30 responses, almost there. Right, we need like 4 or 5 more. Where's the rest of you all? Hopefully completing. Okay, we're at time. So if you haven't completed the survey, please do so. If you haven't done the orientation survey, that link is in the chat. But otherwise, have a great rest of your day. I'll follow up with the poll and the abbreviations in the interns teams channel. If you have any questions, you know where to reach me. All right, have a great rest of your day.
Thank you, Crystal.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And now it got more. Anyway, let's keep it like a minimum whatever control. We just trying to farm some little frog. Try to farm some frog. Why are there two of them? Rich. I don't know why there are two of them, but let's see. Where is my personal shit? Important, and there is Richard. I don't know what this is. Damn, I'm low-key cooked, I'm cooked, brother. I'm cooked. Oh, the last one is like. Wait. Oh, they're the same thing, bruh. You cannot find anything different here. And they simply just. Yeah, they just. Rename it. It's gonna be. No region. Exam day is May 30. All right. They just look better That's what it is. Should I listen to music, guys? Way too noisy. Never mind. It's way too noisy. For lunch. What do we eat for lunch? I don't want to eat anything actually. Yeah, I want to eat anything. Also, I don't want to take a lunch break. I didn't eat lunch. I ate like a snack and while working, so that's just not counted. How about that? Whew. Now let's see. What's the update node? John Black in your area. Alright, Prominence Notion here. What's the next property we should look at? So we have these. Yeah, just close them up. It's working. Let me make my bed. Alright, let me make my bed.
Whatever it was called, she knew it and didn't care. Couldn't make herself care. She had already given up everything for this man, this feeling, and she knew she'd do it again, whatever the cost. She loved him. It was that simple, that terrifying. When he whispered, "Where's the bedroom?" she knew she should say stop, tell him to come back when he was divorced. But she couldn't. He'd brought her back to life. God help her. 31. In love, Frankie learned to lie. It was one of two new constants in her life, lying and loving Rye throughout that long, lazy summer. She didn't tell anyone she'd been suspended from nursing, and so she had hours when no one expected to hear from her. She lived frugally on her savings. Her life alternated between two worlds, one of passion and the other of guilt. Day after day, she promised herself no more. No more pills, no more Rye. He was as much a drug as the others. She swore each day she'd tell him to go away and not come back until...
I haven't purchased history on my phone. That work? Let me see. Rocket Money. Like, I don't know, guys. Just try it out, you know. We'll see how it goes. But yeah. Spend shit of money, yes. And I mean, here's the thing, right? We have a... it was an 10-minute shit, bro. Lost my receipt. do have the purchase history on the.
Please hold while I try to connect you.
I purchased knee sleeve for last week, and I kind of want to return it, but I lost the receipt. I just have the purchase history on my phone. Does that still work?
Do you have an account with us?
I created the account on spot, like on that day.
Yeah, then we should definitely be able to pull it. No problem.
All right, cool. Then I will come by maybe this afternoon. That works. All right, cool.
Sounds good.
Sounds good. Thank you. Tell me early. Bro, tell me early. Come on. Come on, man. I created the account on spot that day. Okay. Okay, so we got business application, right? Now I'm curious to see what Capax is. So that Texas. I don't even know what this is. What is this? So what does Capex mean? And I'm not sure. I just want to see. OPEX. Now write code that can, find the application, list out the application that has the property OPEX as well. Total direct post. So the above are the properties I got from running the following Gremlin queries. Alright. Not yet, dude. The following Gremlin queries. Watched. The thing is, I don't know any property that is actually about decommissioning cost or whatever. So I would say, I don't know. Let's consider total cost or whatever as a decommissioning cost. I don't know. And yeah, can you find something? Can you find some property that's related to decommissioning cost here? Because there are so many properties, right? But also note that not every application has those properties. So if you just filter the property out directly, you may find that there's no data shown because not all applications have those properties. Some of them just don't have those properties. You feel me? These are not universal properties. This is just like key and value keys that every single field that they have, because this is also across different workspaces in RDoc, from business application, interoperability assets, and technology. And I want you to, work your way through. Like, imagine you are a new architect in Arch, and you're trying to work your way through. You were trying to see what the structure is like. Just tell me what to do to see the structure. I can show you the structure later on. But all you can do is run the grammar inquiry. Then I'll show you. Okay. Yo, fix the code. I don't know why. What does IT mean? What does IT? No, I mean it. This the one I highlighted. What is this? Then why do we use IT instead of just double dash as like anonymous traversal? Dude, it's still invalid, bro. Why don't we just use p.text that contains or something like that, bro? Dude, you must be so stupid. You know why? Look, why can't we just use this example like text p dot containing? We can use this, no? Why do we have to use fucking Excel? Yeah, right. Then use that. Use it on the cost. Write the fucking query with cost, not repeating what I show you, bro. Dumbass. No, I need you to just simply use it here. Like here. Custom data query here. Use what I just told you, the text containing thing, the p text containing. Text p that contains. Oh. Well, what if I only care about keys though? What do I do? Then write query that filter cost after you export all the keys. Like inside Gremlin, cannot do that, bro. Cannot do that. Are you stupid? is so hot. This deep shit is. Deep shit is so fucking hot. We're playing games. Maybe you stop. Man. My enemy. Kind of want to return it. Kind of want to return it. Don't have my receipt. I lost my physical receipt. Problems. shit. It still hurts. Still hurts on play. Still hurts pretty bad. So, yeah, I feel like this is more like a placebo rather than actually working. If it actually works, This is regretted my purchase. It's not even worth it. Still, but it's not that good. I guess it helped a little bit, but it's not that good. You know what I'm saying? So it's okay. Higher. Let me look back the thing again. Solution. Something was off.
was divorced. But when he showed up at her door, wearing a smile just for her, she was lost. And as good as it felt to lose herself in his arms, the pleasure turned cold when he left her bed. Each day, she was reminded of her weakness, her dishonesty, her immorality, her obsession. Over and over and over. At night, when she was alone, she agonized that he was in bed with his wife, and she imagined the pain this affair would cause the innocent Joey. But as much as she despised herself, she couldn't deny him. She was like a starving person who was given 2 hours a day in a bakery, and in those hours she came fully, gloriously alive, reveled in her appetite. Stay the night this time, she pleaded at last, hating the plaintive edge to her voice. She meant, choose me, but she knew he couldn't do it. He and Melissa were talking to a lawyer. He was looking for his own place, but he couldn't do anything to upset his custody of Joey. He loved his daughter with abandon. You know I can't, he said, stroking her bare arm as they lay together in bed. She couldn't help looking at the clock. 3 p.m. She felt the incipient spark of panic, the sharp sting of regret. Regret that he was leaving, or that she'd let him stay. I can't wait for you to meet Joey. She'll love you, he said. Frankie let herself be soothed by that. I hope so. And we'll have children too, right? Of course. I want a daughter who looks just like you. He smiled. Joey wants a brother or sister. She says it constantly. I love you, she said, rolling toward him. She traced the scars on his shoulder with her lips. Puckered burns covered his chest, created white patches of skin amid the graying blonde hair. She stretched out against his thin body, pressing into him. I wish I'd been the one writing you letters. Me too, babe. I care for Missy, but this... you... Soon we can stop hiding. His hand moved down her bare skin. Need pulled at her, made her move against him, made her breathing speed up. She rolled onto her back, gave him full access to her body. His kisses awakened the part of her that belonged only to him. By summer's end, Frankie was a knot of nerves. All of the waiting, the hoping, the hiding was tearing her to pieces. She was lying to everyone she knew, and she hated it. She'd taken off her St. Christopher medal and hidden it away, afraid it would burn her skin while she slept. She needed more pills to sleep and more pills to stay awake. Still, she went on with the affair, waiting every day for the moment she could announce the truth to her friends and family and unpack this terrible, oppressive guilt. She avoided answering the phone. Lying to Barb or Ethel was impossible, but neither could she tell them the truth. She returned calls when she knew they'd be gone, or hung up when one of them answered. Never had she imagined herself to be the woman that she'd become. Loving Ryan had transformed her into a liar. Every night, alone in her bed, she prayed that tomorrow he would say it was done. They could be together, walk hand in hand in the sunlight, spend the night together. Each morning, she felt another piece of her soul fall away. In August, when she got Barb's excited phone call that she was getting married, Frankie's first reaction was a series.
What is 9:40 a.m. plus 7.5 hours in a day? Uh, okay, see you.